I'm Scott Vanderplu, and this is the Artist Edition Index Podcast, episode 101.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Thank you for joining me as we bounce into our 101st episode. Very exciting that we got past 100, and here we bring the typed, written, digital word of aindex.org and bring it to a podcast where I add inflection and I don't know what else. All right, big events this month. I guess the topic of interest this month are my industry Q&A posts. So I should probably preface this. I sort of did on the on some of the posts, but so, something comes up and I'll have a question, and if luck occurs, I have a source that I can ask that question to. And sometimes I don't find a source, and sometimes it takes a long time. But so I'll ask a question or two, or I'll get a little snippet of something that doesn't feel like a whole article, but it's a question or two, and I get some answers from somebody. So I've been saving these up, and then I just had 3 or 4 lying around, and then somebody asked me a new question in April, and because that was a new question, it was a singular question, and it was for Graffiti Designs, and I have a good relationship with Bob Chapman. I was actually able to ask him immediately and get a response. So I thought, this is great. I'll call it an industry Q&A because it's just a question and an answer. And then I realized, I have all these other things that I haven't done. Maybe I should be posting those. So that's why if you go to the site this month, you'll see 4 industry Q&As, and they date from all over the place. So one is David Roach from December 2022. David's work had been going on for quite a while, and his involvement with the Apex, the rebirth of the Apex line at 2000 AD was vital. And then also he was involved at Dynamite, which I wasn't aware of. So we had some questions back and forth, great stuff. But then I wasn't really sure what to do with it. So I sat on it. And unfortunately, we got some stuff there. And then I had Dark Horse. I had some questions. I've had questions for years at Dark Horse because they really didn't seem to have a guiding hand. It was just various editors taking on their gallery editions. So then I was able to talk with Kara O'Neill, VP of Marketing at the time. I'm not sure if Kara's still at Dark Horse. This was a while ago. And April 2024, she was able to talk to editors and get me these wonderful answers, and I really appreciated that as well. And then I had the same opportunity. Somebody else, I got an introduction to Rebellion or 2000 AD, and that was great. And then I was able to ask a couple questions, and the one big question was why relaunch? And then actually it was wonderful. I got a really great answer, but again, I didn't know where does this fit? What can I do with it? And then, of course, my 4th one was about the sizing of the missing pages in Batman The Dark Knight Returns. And then on top of that, I was able to add something else. So it's really great. Good stuff. I just had an email from Diana Schutz about the book, and I was able to implement her answer as well into this. So it was really great to have these pieces put together, and now that I've put these 4 this month, it's not going to be that sort of schedule, and maybe I've sweetened the pot too much there with anticipation or expectation. I don't know when the next industry Q&A is going to be. Just it's something there. When I ask a question, I get an answer. It will immediately be posted. So there you go. Please enjoy those if you can. That also relates back to I have a page on the site called AE Resources where I post links to people or interviews about artist editions or the AE format. I don't post any links to my own articles because you're on my site. You should be able to find those yourself. But these are links to things related to AE format books, but not on my site. So I've been maintaining this for several years, and it doesn't get the appreciation I think it deserves. And also, it's a sad commentary when you look at the list and see, wow, that's not a lot of things. Now, what I don't post are reviews from other sites. When I started the A Index, I used to have, I would post actually all the reviews from other sites, and I realized, no, why? I'm struggling to get my own recognition going. I also don't, and unfortunately, there were no reciprocal links from places like the New York Times for their one review of I think it was a Kirby book, things like that. So focus on myself and then focus on the industry. That's what I did. All right. Anyway, check that out. AE Resources. It's right on my menu. That was the big news. The interesting then we've got tidbits this month for sure. We spoke last month. My covers, and more covers. I mentioned that DCBS was having also an exclusive cover for Jim Apparo's DC Classics Artist Edition, and I just before the podcast started, I popped back on their solicitation page. And their solicitation came and went, and they never bothered to put a picture up of their exclusive book. It was posted on another site, and then I was able to put it in my article. But so interesting that how many solicitations could they get for an exclusive book with no cover art? Odd choice, DCBS. All right, let's talk the poll this month. So the poll this month was, hold on a second, now I've blown it. I got the question, I think. Which 2080 property deserves the Apex Edition treatment? So this is our friend of the site, David Chikoy. And we had 5 options, as always. I like 5. So Judge Anderson by Arthur Ranson. That's my pick. I didn't vote, though. I'm not skewing the votes anymore. I'm not even voting, but that's my pick. Judge Dredd by Carlos Ezquerra. That's also a great choice. Nicolai Dante by John Burns and Simon Fraser. Sinister Dexter by Simon Davis, and Slain by Simon Bisley. We didn't get a lot of votes on this one this month, but landslide for Slain by Simon Bisley. I think that'd be amazing. But as I'm discovering, painted, I'm wondering did Bisley paint on the page, or was it, I've only seen Slain painted pages. And that's the same thing with, the Arthur Ranson pages are inked. They appeared in black and white and they weren't painted. So I'm wondering if that Arthur Ranson, that's why that's my choice. I love Arthur Ranson, but I was a bit disappointed with how the painted pages came across. And that's, I said last month, I think, when I was talking about that review of the Button Man Apex Edition. Painted pages just don't come across as well in AE format books as penciled or inked pages. Maybe it's the paper choice. Maybe we have to change out the paper. Something to bring out. Maybe it's there's more texture in paint. I don't know. Whatever it is, it doesn't come across as well. We have limited examples, to be sure. But we'll have to see. Maybe somebody else will try that. What would I like to see? A Soderovich Thor, for sure. Okay. That was the poll. It's all polls just continue running, but that's, I recap them when the month is over. Let's talk shipping changes. I'm not sure. DC Covers Artist Edition Volume 1. I think we talked about these last month, but I'll mention them again. That's August 26th, as is the Youngblood Vault Edition now. I did make a note. Jim Apparo's DC Classics Artist Edition is out on 2 different days. So if you're getting it from a comic store, it's available September 17th. And if you're getting it from a book distributor, it's available September 30th. As an example, my comic store, we get them from book distributors. We get them from Image Books. We get from Simon & Schuster. So we won't get the book until September 30th. As far as I know, the only comic distributor you'd be able to get it from the 17th for is Lunar. So there you go. And Lunar is offering the direct market exclusive cover, which is the Spectre, or the mass market, I guess, which is the Batman. Those are the shipping changes. All right, let's talk solicitations. IDW May 20. Well, actually, we'll get ahead of that. So we've had a couple of things this month that don't really fit solicitation and don't. So I actually was doing Slingsby Brothers Inc. April 2025 solicitations. I put this as a solicitation because David Wright's Carol Day Showcase 2nd edition was available. So that's I also reviewed my 1st edition this month, but we'll get to that later. And that this is an 8.5 by 11 book. Now it's 9 by 12 in their second edition, and it was available as a softcover for $25 and a hardcover for $40. You could buy them through their store on eBay, or if you're in Europe, you could get them from Book Palace. And it was announced and available for sale all at the same time. So I guess I should have put that as a new release, which I'll be doing in the future. When something's immediately available, it's just going to be a new release, and then you can read that. But that's exciting. I do review that, so we'll talk about that later. But the other new release this month is also something I reviewed, and that was really interesting. It's I'm not going to talk about it this much right now. I'll talk more about the review in a few moments. But it was Batman First Night Artist Edition, which was it's not released by Scott Dunbier, who has the trademark to Artist Edition, but also wasn't released by IDW, who he's allowed to use the trademark. It was from Panini, Germany. And this is Mike Perkins, all his original art for Batman First Night, which was the DC Black Label series, 3 issues. It was the sort of magazine size, so it was a different formatting of a comic, and it's 10 inches by 12 inches, or 10 and a 12.5. Reduced from the original art, and it was available. It's so Panini Germany, only available from Germany and Austria. You could order it. It was a 4-volume slipcase, so you got each issue of the comic in German was released as its own hardcover, and then this is a 4th bonus hardcover, and it has all the original art. That was €99, but again, you had to be in Germany or Austria. I reached out to Walt's Comic Shop, our advertiser, to see if he could get it. I did not hear back. I don't think he deals. I think he only deals with English language books, so I don't know. But that would have been great if he could sell that $99. It's limited to 666 copies. But then Mike Perkins had 50 copies available, I guess, his comp copies from Panini. And he was selling them from his own site for £75. And then I was told in the UK the shipping was £10, and shipping to me in Canada was £40. So it got to be a little expensive. My total cost was $151 US when that was converted, or $219 Canadian. So this is a lot, I gotta say. But a pretty exclusive book that I'm not sure I'd see elsewhere. I went for it. We'll get to talk more about that in the review. And our last solicitation, 2 more actually, sorry. I will make a note, I'm not bothering with Diamond catalogs anymore. First off, who knows if Diamond's going to have a catalog anymore, or if they're around. But since they're not the primary distributor of IDW or any publisher that makes an AE format book, I'm just not going to worry about posting anymore. If your comic shop, if you still ordering from Diamond, or your comic shop's getting from Diamond, which I doubt they are, they're going to see shipment problems anyway. So that's it. No Diamond catalogs anymore for me. I'll just stick with the other catalogs. So speaking of which, IDW May 2025 catalog came out, and they had 2 artist editions solicited. First one, and we've seen these before from the PRH solicitations. So first one is DC Covers Artist Edition Volume 1. It's no longer DC Covers Volume 1 Artist Edition, apparently. Still has that weird Jim Lee cover when the rest of the stuff is not that modern, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it's 128 pages, 150 US, it's 12 by 17, and includes a bunch of stuff. Read my solicitation. I did update the image because it now has the new IDW logo, or the ID cut logo. I don't know how many times I look at this logo and still don't see IDW. It's just ID with a line through it. I get that you're cutting it and then that's supposed to be a W at the bottom, but it doesn't work. Yeah. All right. And then the other solicitation was for, again, they continue to call it Jack Kirby's Forever People Artist Edition when the cover says Jack Kirby, the Forever People Artist Edition. And as far as I know, it was because DC wouldn't let the apostrophe S indicate ownership of the book, and that was, so we'll see. I assume it's just, again, the person who makes the catalog is not the same person who knows what's happening with the book. So this is a reprint, straight up reprint like IDW's been doing lately. So it's nice if you didn't get the Forever People or couldn't get it for less than $100 on eBay, which you still can do now. You can get the new printing for $150. And interestingly, this was pointed out to me by someone else, and I sort of my jaw dropped, but IDW shows sample pages in the catalog, and then actually that made me look back at PRH in the sample pages. They post like the first 6 pages on the PRH page, and then they're putting the first bunch of pages in their catalog. And the very first page of the issue 1, the double page splash, was not from original art. And actually, had they not cropped the image so much, they could see that it says above page not scanned from original art. But they chose to show a stat page to promote the book in the catalog. So again, I think editorial needs to work a little harder with marketing at IDW. Okay. Last solicitation. This was out of the blue. DC July 2025 catalog. This could be the first DC solicitation I've ever done. And it is DC Work in Progress All-Star Superman #1. Unveiling DC's Artist Edition line. I love that. It's because they don't do apostrophe S because that's again, trademark. Experience the original art of DC's greatest issues and artists at original artboard size. Step into the world of comics like never before with DC WIP. Get up close and personal with the stunning original artwork from one of comics' greatest artists. Featuring the never before printed inked pages of All-Star Superman. Interesting. #1 from Frank Quitely. The brilliance of Quitely's work can be seen like never before in this massive, oversized presentation. Lettering included for the full reading experience. I do like that. With a brand new introduction by Quitely. Don't miss your chance to own this incredible, one-of-a-kind piece of comic history. I paused there because the All-Star line had an all and then a star and between the words and then the word star. So that's All-Star Superman. But in the solicitation, they put a hyphen. I did not put a hyphen in mine because that's not a hyphen. That's a graphic character appearing between 2 words. It's not a hyphen. So I will have to read the colophon. I guess that will be that will not be, well, I guess if it's an individual issue and not a book, it will not be a colophon at that point. It will be in indices for a magazine. All right, well. Anyway, this looks interesting. 11 by 17, so this is, they're basically taking what Image was doing with that stuff, but hopefully it is the original art. Hopefully it's not cleaned up. Hopefully it's not black and white. It's $14.99. It's 24 pages. It's a soft cover. I assume it's going to be like a cardboard cover, just like all those Image ones, right? And out of the Image ones, unfortunately, most of them are black and white, and two of them, I think, were actually the original art scans. I have reviewed one on the site. I can't remember. I can't even tell you the name of that line. Drawing a blank at this moment. So this is interesting. This could really go places. I guess, the price range is amazing. $15. Come on. I think even Image was doing, I think theirs was $25 or, I got to stop just randomly saying things. Let's check it out. Going to the site. Going to AE Adjacent. Going to Image. It is called Artist Proof Edition is what it was. Yes, it was 11 by 17, 64 pages though. The one I reviewed was The Sacrificers, and it was $24.99 for 64 pages. So $15 for 24 pages, I guess that makes sense. Now, mind you, the Image had the printing issue and they had to reprint it, so hopefully that doesn't happen for DC. All right, there you go. So what is the value there then? Let's bring up the calculator. Let's go $24.99 divided by 64 is 39 cents per page. Let's go $14.99 divided by 24. Ooh, 62 cents per page. Was it 22 pages? 24 pages, yeah. So 39 cents per page versus 62 cents per page. So the DC is, in fact, a worse value. Interesting. All right. Exciting anyways. Unfortunately, no preview images. I mean, and because it's in the comic vein, we'll have right. It's solicited. It's going to be available in 2 months. So this thing's out in July 9th. And again, because I've never worked with DC, I don't have a press contact. I have nothing for DC. Well, that's not true. I have a retailer contact. So I was thinking about checking, but then I thought, why bother? I don't do preview images anyways. All I really want to know is clarification of if it's original art. So maybe I'll still pursue that. I don't know. Waffling I am. Okay. I did do the AE format out of print sales for March 2025 because I said I was gonna, get through the first quarter, and then I think if I can, I'll still do this every month. I don't know. I'm losing my luster for this. But then I looked, and it had 400 hits the last month, so I thought, that's a decent number of hits. People are checking this out. I should probably keep going. All right, but again, we're just going to talk highlights on this. I was shocked to see Alien the Illustrated Story have 2 sales for an average of 185. That's great. Batman the Dark Knight Returns, 1 sale for 150. That has really dropped from the number of sales we've seen regularly for that. Bernie Wright's an Artifact Edition, second print for $299.99. That seemed high. Best of EC Comics Volume 1. We had 1 of those for $295, and 2 of Volume 2 averaging $287.50. Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants, Moon Knights, and Assassins, $349.99 for 1 copy. Conan Red Nails still trickles through once a month, right? 1 copy, $256.99. Dave Stevens, The Rocketeer Artist Edition, first print, $130.50, 1 copy. That was pretty good. David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again Artist Edition, first print, 1 copy, $157.50. It's a bit hard for me to determine on eBay what is the first print of this book, just like it's going to be hard for me to determine first print of the Forever People and these other reprints. Thankfully, the way the logos on the cover have moved around and changed. That's how I'm able to tell by Daredevil Born Again. The Marvel and the IDW logos were one in each corner, and now they're clustered in one corner. That's the only way I can tell the difference. So I'm still monitoring that for first prints. I doubt I'll be adding second prints to this list. Don't see the point. 4 copies of Gil Kane's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition, averaging $90.79. This book continues to sell steadily every month on eBay, and it's always selling for far below cover. So I'm not sure what the deal there is. 2 copies of Herb Trimpe's The Incredible Hulk Artist Edition, averaging $52. Wow. I know there's not a lot of love for that book, but that's a pretty good price. 3 copies of Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four: The World's Greatest Artist Edition, averaging $268.17. I was shocked to see on eBay that these all sold as being listed as Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four Artist Edition variant cover. So whoever's selling them, I don't know, they thought it was the same as the other one, just bigger? I don't even know what was going on there. Can't anybody just search the title and hit my site? Like, I'm number 1 now at this point for almost all these books. I'm actually ahead in the charts of IDW. So if you search my books, a lot of times, especially if you search Artist Edition or things like that, I'm number 1 in search rankings. So you can search any of these books if you're a seller, and you come up and hey, look, there's all the info I need. Joe Kubert, Enemy Ace Artist Edition, 3 copies sold for an average of $213.33. That's a giant price hike. I just haven't seen that for that book. Joe Kubert's Tarzan and the Apes, all 3 volumes sold last month. It's amazing. So 2 copies of the first one, averaging $120. 2 copies of The Return of Tarzan, averaging $207.36. 2 copies of Tarzan and the Lineman, which I haven't seen it forever. 2 copies, $265 average. Great books. Really, really great. John Byrne's Fantastic Four Artist Edition, 2 copies sold for an average of $282.50. 1 copy of John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artifact Edition sold for $149.99. 1 copy of John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition Volume 2, $75. Wow. It's interesting. No copies of Judge Dredd by Brian Bolland sold this month. Weird. Also, no copies of John Paul Leon's The Winterman. What else was notable? 2 copies of Mike Zeck's Classic Marvel Stories for $100 each. 2 copies of Sergio Aragona's Groot the Wanderer, averaging $261.92. That's quite an increase. 1 copy of Spawn Vault Edition 2 for $150. I think that's the lowest price I've seen in a while for that book. Finally, Terry Moore Strangers in Paradise, a copy sold for $139.99. 2 copies of Walter Simonson's Star Wars Artist Edition sold for an average of $131.50. That's a bump up too. 3 copies of Will Eisner's The Spirit Artist Edition sold for $169.16. 1 copy of Will Eisner's The Contract with God Curator's Collection sold for $402.27. If you see that book in the wild, just buy it. All right, we had 2 price records set this month. I know I like to jump ahead normally, but I thought I'd wait this time. First one, Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights and Assassin Artifact Edition, the signed version. So different cover. It's that classic, the poster. I had that poster hanging up in my room. $9.99 for that. So that's a record. And then the other record this month was John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition. Not the remarked, just the regular old first print. Somebody paid $499.99. I analyzed this listing. I don't see any. It's just a regular old first printing. But somebody paid $500 for it. I can't figure out how or why. I really can't. All right. That's everything before reviews. I should mention the 3 ways to support the site, like I do every month. First way, great way, is to use my links. Almost all my links are affiliate links, or they're advertiser links, and that generates revenue for me. Things from Another World, I've eliminated all from my front page. They've dropped their affiliate program, they've dropped their website, so that's sort of out. So I've lost the revenue stream there. That's disappointing. Amazon and eBay are my main revenue streams now. I've got a couple others that sort of trickle a few dollars in, but it's not much. Another way to support is through patronage. So either through Patreon, so patreon.com/aindex, or you can donate via PayPal. There's a link. There's a button on my website. It says donate via PayPal. And the third way is to hit up the store. So go to the store. I have some things that I'm not price cheap. I'm going to be honest with you. Some things are amazing deals. I mean, I have Eric Powell's The Gruen Artist Edition for $50. I've got, Extremity Signature Edition copies. I've got sealed Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips, X-Men, Jim Lee's X-Men Artist Edition, Gil Kane's Amazing Spider-Man I got a copy of, Frank Miller's Daredevil Artifact Edition. I got Conan the Barbarian. I got the signed copy. I got the unsigned Smith cover. I have Chris Samnee's Black Widow. I got a Best of EC. Great stuff. If you're interested, please hit me up, and I will get those shipped worldwide, right? Tracked, insured, bulletproof packaging. So those are the ways to support me. Thank you. Commercial over. All right, reviews for this month. 4 reviews, lots going on. I'm still maintaining my 4 reviews a month, so we'll see how that continues. We'll see how that continues. All right, first one up was David Wright's Carol Day Showcase. So here, let me give you the blurb. Collectors often ask what makes the Carol Day comic strip, an obscure and seldom seen strip from the United Kingdom, so special to a small group of fanatics. For most fans, the art is the hook, and most collectors instantly recognize that this art and this artist are levels above what we usually encounter in a comic strip. This quickly leads people to want to learn and see more. For Carol Day, this has been very difficult historically, as the strip hasn't been significantly reprinted and it never achieved wide circulation in newspapers. This book presents for the first time the full range of Carol Day art from Wright's first story to his last, with examples from every story. We gathered 136 outstanding Carol Day examples from across Wright's run to display. All are reproduced from the original art to present the flavor of the strip and magnitude of Wright's achievement. This first printing was available in January 2025, and again, the second printing is available in April. I'm pretty sure the second printing is also sold out at this point. I should probably click those links. I'm sorry. Let's have a look-see. The hardcover sold out. You can still get the soft cover on eBay. So 26 have been sold, more than 10 available. Sorry if you wanted the hardcover. All right, $25. Shipping to me was $21 US to Canada, which seemed very harsh. Very naff by 11, 80-page book. But they use the Global Shipper program, which just is more expensive for anybody outside of the United States. But since, they don't care and they're in America, it doesn't matter. Okay. This book is very nice for that. It's representation of Carol Day. It's representation of David Wright's art. The paper's a bit interesting. It's not white. It's very much in that newspapery color. I think that's what they were going for. So it doesn't quite The art doesn't pop as much as it does, say, on the slightly off white paper from the AE format books they do. But this is also an introductory book, introductory price, a really great opportunity to see Carol Day. And it's interesting to see that they could print this book and break even or profit, because their full-size art books are very expensive and are printed to order and only available from England. And the last 2 print runs have been 175 copies. So this seems to open the door that, yes, reprinting the strips at a reasonable price can be an option. So maybe we'll see the strips actually, maybe whole stories reprinted this way. And if they're shot from the original art, all the better. Amazing. This is a great sampler book, for sure. Just amazing. Let's see if the people at Slingley Brothers Art Inc. can do something there. They're not fans of mine. They have the website actually lists every piece of news and links that their stuff has been written about, except any links to my site. I'm the only site that has reviewed all their publications, but no links to me, which is okay, because if you search any of their pages, my reviews come up first before their site. So I guess that's my small revenge. I don't know. I'd rather that they reduce the price of the books and get more exposure, but that's just me. All right, next review. Blacksad Le Crayon. Crayon? I can't pronounce that. I'm terrible. This is another interesting book. I was somewhere online, again, I don't know where, and I saw this for... I think I posted a solicitation for this. It's from a publisher called Fab Art Editions. And this is a collection of the roughs for Blacksad Volume 6, which was the last book. It was a 2-parter, right? They did 2 parts, and this was the part 1. So it's Juanjo Garnido. It's gorgeous. It is 9¼ inches by 12¼ inches. It's 88 pages. The hardcover. It's 119 euros. Let's go to their site and see if it's still available. Yes, still available. I think I paid 35 euros for shipping. Or it was 30 euros. And I ordered 2 copies, and the shipping didn't change because it's based on volumetric weight. So that was good. Another Blacksad enthusiast saw I was ordering this and jumped on it, so he got his copy too. This is so there's a signed and numbered Ex Libris, I guess, that's pasted into the book, and it is a really ridiculously heavy, toothsome paper. It's crazy. Let me give you the blurb. Really doesn't. It's just bullet points. The deluxe edition, including the complete storyboard for Volume 6 of Blacksad with the texts, the sketches, Manny, John, Alma, Shelby, the mayor, book detail, French format, 31.4 centimeters by 23.7. That seems like a really odd size. 88 pages on 180 gram Conqueror Verge oyster textured paper. Oh, the paper is gorgeous. Canvas back. I think it's a cloth spine, so I think that's what they mean by that. 4-color offset printing, sewn notebook, glued square spine, 3mm cardboard, hardcover, embossed, hot stamped. Comes with 1 book plate on page 3. That's the Ex Libris, the book plate. Numbered and signed by Juanjo Garnido. Numbered to 450 copies. Sticker with number on the cover. Made in France. Individual protective film. I love that. Shrink wrapped. That's how they refer to it. Shrink wrapped. So I'm going to break the. I did this in the review too. This is all digital. And I'm telling you that Juanjo Garnido works like he's on paper, but I guess that he does it digitally. This thing is amazing. I'm flipping through the book. I couldn't tell from the samples that it was digital, and then I'm going through my copy, and also I had a hard time. It's really... So I reached out to the publisher. So Fabien Malray, editor of the book, and he answered my questions. And I said, looking at the art, we can see blue pencil and inks. Was this art produced digitally or on traditional artboard? And the reply was, all you can see in the book is digital. Juanjo worked with digital blue, black, red pen. So I said, why is the book called Le Crayon, which is pencils, right? Juanjo asked to name the art book like that because they are crayons. That means in French preliminary work, which I also didn't know. It's an idiom, I guess, for preliminary work. Normally in pencil. before ink. So this is why he called that crayon. In French, we call that crayon préparatoire. That could be translated as rough drawing. This is just an amazing volume. That's why I was really just completely blown away by this. You've got to, go to the site, check it out. I've got to flip through as always. The Juan Urganino is amazing. The art really just pops, and to see his the line work, just amazing. All right, sorry, I had a problem with the recording there. There may be a pregnant pause. I'll have to go back and edit that if I seem disjointed halfway through there. Okay. Next review was the Le Schtroumpfissime Artiste Edition. Le Schtroumpfissime is a flagship album in the series created by Peyo. Its theme is timeless: the struggle between democracy and authoritarianism. While Papa Smurf is absent from the village to try and find a rare ingredient for a potion, the Smurfs select a new leader. A master manipulator comes to power and gives himself the title of Smurfist. His increasingly authoritarian decisions sow discord in the village to the point that a growing number of Smurfs flee to the forest to organize the fight against the tyrant. While the village, fortified by its dictator, is stormed by his opponents, Papa Smurf returns and helps his fellow citizens return to normal. Ah, that Papa Smurf. For the first time, the original plates of this founding album of Peyo legend are reproduced in facsimile and original art. This was released by Dupuis on January 31st, 2025. It's 13 3/4 inches by 18 1/4 inches, 80 pages. It's a hardcover. It's €229. Available from Amazon. That's the best way to order it. That's why I ordered my copy. And interesting. Ordered my copy. I pre-ordered it. Amazon, I don't know why. They sit on my copy for a month. And then they finally ship it. And I'm sitting around waiting. And I check my status, and they tell me if you don't receive the book by this date, you can claim a refund. So I did. The book did not arrive that morning. They had an expected ship date. It didn't arrive. Then I got the notice. If it doesn't arrive by this date, you can claim a refund. I claimed the refund. 2 days later, the book showed up. So I was thrilled to get a free book from Amazon. Thanks, Amazon. Indirectly, and by making me wait a month before you ship the book. I guess that's your just desserts. All right. Another amazing book by Champaka Brussels by way of Dupuis. And in the podcast last month, I said what I really wanted to see in a perfect artist edition. And it's funny because the things I rattled off were basically what I see in the Dupuis Champaka. It's really Champaka, right? Dupuis is the publisher, but Champaka is the one who puts together in these Artiste Edition. Full-size art, right? Cloth spine. I love the cloth spine. I love the full cover art. No logo, no nothing, right? That's on the spine. Then you get into the book, and there's some historical documentation, right? This has a history of the book, and it's about somewhere between 12 and 20 pages. We get samples of other things. They include photos. Then we get into the artwork. Beautiful presentation of the artwork, like nothing. It's just the artwork. And yes, there are no page numbers, and that would be I would like to see page numbers along the bottom of the pages. But this as always, these volumes pop. I mean, the French, what varies here is previously on these editions, the art seems to be separated in half for publication in like Spirou magazine. And this time the art is all like 60-40. So on average, we get three rows of panels on the top piece of art and then 2 on the bottom. So I'm not sure why that format changed for this work. I have to look into that more if I can. The art is very clean. So this is the thing. Peyo was doing this. He was working with somebody at the Dupuis offices for the writing of the works. He had assistants here. He had a 17-year-old Waltery assisting him on this book. And then he had Goss assisting him in the second. This book contains 2 stories. And unfortunately, there are 2 pages missing that are not from original artwork. And the colophon has a note, and it says, despite our research, we were unfortunately unable to locate the originals for the cover, title page, and plate 26. There you go, 3 pages, apologies. I guess technically it's 1 page, the title page and the cover. But amazing that that they can have all that together for the other stuff, and even find this from this time period and still only be missing those things. What's also, this is amazing, this kind of stuff, is the way the artwork presents, right? The staples, or everything, the tape, it really feels like art that's been handled and produced. Even though I did include an image of the page that 26 there, and actually in the title page that you see are reproductions, and they've done a fairly good job. But just an astounding volume, again, of just very, very classic Franco-Belgian bande dessinée. That if you're a fan of comics, you really deserve to expand your horizons and take a look at these. Great flip through. Beautiful book. Check it out. Last review this month. I'm really going long this month. Batman, First Night Artist Edition. So again, I said I'd talk about this later. So it's a 10-inch by 12 3/4 book, 146 pages. It's a hardcover. 75 pounds is what I paid. You can get it if you're in Germany or Austria, or you can order it somehow. Work the magic. You can get this in a 4-volume slipcase for 99 euros plus shipping. So this solicitation was very simple from Mike Perkins' site. Limited copies available of this signed, oversized collection of the 3 issues of Batman, The First Night, in glorious black and white. It's not really black and white. It's color scans of his inks, but okay. Only 50 copies available. Shopped in original artboards and published by Panini Germany. Don't worry, there's no words, just art. This is the only way to buy this volume on its own. Strictly limited to 1 book per address. Also, I would have ordered more than 1 copy. It would have offset my shipping costs and maybe recouped some money there. But that's okay. Get it right from Mike Perkins. You open the book up. There's Mike Perkins' signature. And then it's a very, very simple design. Some great... the only odd choice is that they decided to put all 3 covers on 1 page when they could have just used them as chapter breaks. So I don't quite understand that decision because the covers are gorgeous. As is this art. I can't even tell you what Perkins, how he did this book. I see a lot of ink. I see ink wash. I'm assuming he used photo reference. There feels like a lot of photo reference in this book. The backgrounds. I'm really getting a strong Gregory Peck feel on. There's a couple panels of Bruce Wayne where I'm like, boy, that's Gregory Peck. And other places. And but it is. We have not seen an artist edition with these techniques and this style. Definitely not. And then his use of, I'm not sure if it's white paint or correction fluid, but it is just magical. These pages really pop. And it really, I mean, if you saw this comic, you knew already he was going for a real 30s feel. It's very much achieved. These are scans of the full art. So there's no borders here. Every page is just the scan of the page. So we do get the borders of his art, though, where he's written his name, he's written the issue number, the comic title. So we can where you are based on those captions at the top. And then you just get to fully experience this art. Sure, I would have liked this full size. Sure, I would have liked to pay less for this. But this is, I mean, when something like this comes up, right? And this is the thing. A worldwide market, right? I mean, had somebody not posted this, I never would have known about it because I don't follow every artist in the world. But then I saw the post. I posted up on A-Index. I got my copy ordered. A bunch of people got their copy ordered. And it's just a wonderful example of something that is so unique but available, right? If you're willing to watch, if you're willing to look, if you're willing to do a little digging. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing most of that digging. And I'm providing this thing. Oh, if you want to know about this stuff, you just got to follow the site. And if you even don't want to follow the site, sign up for the newsletter. I'm shocked, I tell you, shocked that I'm many years into my website. I'm 8 years in. And I still only have a little over 300 subscribers to the newsletter. Why would you not want to just get something in your mailbox that tells you what's new for the week? It's just, and then I constantly see people say, oh, I didn't know this book was available. Oh, I didn't know this book was out. Oh, I didn't know this was coming. I'm like, but you could just sign up for the newsletter and know all these things. No struggle. No real effort there. You just got to look and say, oh yeah, that's interesting. And then when the newsletter comes in and you scroll through and you say, well, there's nothing in that newsletter this week that interests me, and then you just delete it. Right? No loss. An opportunity for information made available freely. That's it. All right, that's it for this month. I've gone way too long. Please check out these reviews. Again, this podcast is here to enhance the website. It's for me to throw in these little tidbits to flesh out sometimes what I've got, maybe to add a little color, right? A little texture. But it does not supplant or replace the website in any way. Go to the website, read these articles, read these reviews, check it out, enjoy it. aindex.org. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.